It was a special day at the community center in Oakland, where Steph Curry participated in a charity event with local residents. The hall was filled with joy, with families enjoying music, food, and activities. Steph moved around the space, stopping to chat with children and sign autographs, when an uncomfortable scene caught his attention. Near the food distribution table, a young black girl named Alana, 16, was being denied service by a woman managing the line. The woman said in a cutting tone, "This food is for registered residents." Alana, holding an empty plate, tried to explain that she had lived in the community for years, but the woman interrupted. "I don't care. You're not on the list." Steph, observing from a distance, noticed the embarrassment in Alana's eyes and the cold expression of the organizer. He quickly approached, asking, "What's going on here?" The organizer, clearly uncomfortable considering Steph, tried to justify her behavior, but Steph knew something was wrong. Alana, holding the plate with trembling hands, looked at Steph, feeling shame and frustration. "I just wanted to get food for me and my grandma," she said, her voice choked. "She's at home sick and couldn't come." Steph asked the organizer directly, "Why are you preventing her from being served?" The woman stammered, "We're trying to follow the rules, and some people just show up to take advantage." But Steph saw that the situation was more about judgment than rules. He placed a hand on Alana's shoulder and contributed to the food table. "She's with me," Steph said to the team serving meals. He helped Alana fill her plate and asked them to prepare another for her grandmother, but he knew that wouldn't solve the larger issue. After Alana, Steph was called to sit with him. He wanted to hear her story. Alana shared about her life, how she cared for her grandmother after losing her parents in a car accident, and how she often felt that people looked at her as if she didn't belong. "I just wanted to help my grandma today," she said, tears in her eyes. Steph was deeply shaken. He remembered his own mother, who always taught him and his siblings about dignity and respect, regardless of relationships. He promised Alana that he would use that experience to create real change. Steph decided he couldn't let the situation go unnoticed. After the event, he gathered the organizers and questioned how the distribution criteria were applied. "You're here to help the community, but you're creating barriers for those who need it most," he said, in a serious tone. The organizer tried to stand her ground, but Steph insisted, "Helping shouldn't be about bureaucratic rules, but about compassion." He called for the practices to be reviewed and for more empathy in future actions. Meanwhile, Alana returned home and told her grandmother what had happened. "He listened to me, Grandma," she said, smiling for the first time in days. Her grandmother, moved, silently thanked Steph, sending a prayer for him. But Steph knew that isolated changes wouldn't be enough. He began to investigate if others had faced similar situations at that event or others. It didn't take long for him to find similar stories from residents who felt excluded due to hidden prejudices. With this information, Steph decided to take broader action. He contacted his team and started a plan that could benefit Alana and other young people in similar situations. At the same time, the story of the incident began to circulate in the community, dividing opinions. Some people supported Steph, while others defended the organizer, saying she was just following rules. The story of what happened at the event quickly spread through the community and social media. Many praised Steph Curry's actions, highlighting how he used his influence to advocate for Alana and questioned practices that harmed the most vulnerable. Others, however, defended the organizer, arguing that rules exist for a reason. Alana, for her part, felt torn. While grateful to Steph for his support, she began to receive disapproving looks from some people in the neighborhood. "They think I caused trouble," she told her grandmother. But her grandmother responded firmly, "You didn't cause any trouble, my girl. The truth needs to be told, and you were brave." Steph realized that the debate was polarized and decided to intervene again. He chose to hold an open meeting at the community center, inviting residents to discuss the barriers they faced and how they could work together to create a more inclusive space. During the meeting, Alana shyly raised her hand to speak. She told her story once again, highlighting how prejudice often manifests in small actions that make people feel invisible. "I just want to be treated with respect, like anyone else," she said, receiving warm applause. Steph had the opportunity to announce a new program that was in the works, Feeding Dignity, an initiative that would ensure charity events were held with empathy and without unnecessary exclusions. He also committed to funding training for volunteers on how to engage with the community respectfully and compassionately. But not everyone was satisfied. The original event organizer, feeling publicly attacked, gave an interview claiming that Steph's intervention was exaggerated and that he didn't understand the difficulties of managing a community event. Upon learning of the interview, Steph decided not to respond directly. Instead, he focused on actions that would demonstrate the importance of change. In the following days, Steph began working with local leaders and the NGO that had previously supported Alana. The goal was to create a model that could be replicated at other events, ensuring that no one was excluded or treated unfairly. Alana, surprisingly even to herself, started to get more involved in the project. She suggested ideas to make the events more accessible and participated in meetings with Steph and his team. She expressed to Steph during one meeting that she never thought she would have a voice, but he had given her an opportunity, and she didn't want to waste it. As the program took shape, the story continued to attract attention. Steph was invited to speak on a TV show about the incident. There, he emphasized that the issue was not just about Alana or a single event. He stated that it was about how we treat those who are most in need. He mentioned that small gestures can have a big impact, both positive and negative. The response brought even more support to the program, with business owners and other celebrities offering resources to expand the initiative's reach. At the same time, Alana began to be seen as a young leader in the community, inspiring other youth to speak about their experiences. However, as the project thrived, the tension between Steph and the original event organizer continued to grow. She refused to participate in the new initiatives, claiming she was being unfairly portrayed as a villain. Steph decided it was time to confront the issue head-on. He scheduled a meeting with her, proposing to find a way to resolve the conflict and ensure that everyone was aligned with a greater purpose. Steph met with the event organizer in a private meeting at the same community center where it all began. The tension was palpable, but he knew he needed to approach the conflict with empathy and firmness. He started by saying he was not there to criticize her, but believed they could learn from what had happened. The organizer, named Margaret, initially took a defensive stance, stating that she didn't understand what it was like to organize something with so many challenges. She said they tried to do their best, but it wasn't always perfect. Steph agreed, acknowledging that managing community events is difficult. However, he pointed out that excluding someone, even unintentionally, goes against the purpose of helping. He reminded her of the scene where Alana was prevented from getting food, and how that affected not only the young girl, but also the community's trust in the event. Gradually, Margaret began to soften. She admitted that she hadn't realized the impact at the time, but now she saw that perhaps her biases had spoken louder. Her honesty was a breakthrough for Steph, who reaffirmed that the goal was to create a space where no one was treated unfairly. He introduced Margaret to the Feeding Dignity program and asked her to join the initiative as a consultant, helping to create more inclusive guidelines for future events. He mentioned that her knowledge and experience could be crucial in preventing something like this from happening again. Margaret accepted the invitation, emotional about the chance to redeem herself. She stated that she just wanted to do what was right. The partnership was announced publicly, and the community reacted positively, seeing it as a powerful example of reconciliation and growth. Meanwhile, Alana continued to shine as a young leader, demonstrating that even the toughest moments can be turned into opportunities for inspiring change. The following month, the first official event of the Feeding Dignity program was held, and the impact was immediate. Over 500 people participated, receiving food, medical care, and psychological support in a welcoming and respectful environment. Alana was one of the main speakers at the event. In her speech, she reflected on the initial incident that made her feel ashamed, but also on her reasons for fighting for something greater. She stated that she learned her voice is important and that no one should have to fight for basic respect. Margaret also took the stage, acknowledging her mistakes and thanking Steph for giving her a second chance. She expressed that she learned that leadership is not about being right all the time, but about listening and growing, earning applause from the audience. Steph closed the event with a powerful message, stating that the program is not just about food, but about dignity, about recognizing the value of every person, regardless of their appearance or situation. And that is something everyone can do in their communities. In the following months, the program gained national reach, being adopted by other cities and communities. Alana was invited to participate in conferences and interviews, becoming a symbol of resilience and change. Steph, for his part, continued to use his platform to advocate for inclusion and social justice, always highlighting the roles of Alana and Margaret in transforming that experience. He stated in an interview that this is what happens when we choose to act with empathy. In the end, what started as a scene of exclusion turned into a movement that united a community and attracted thousands. And as the program grew, Alana continued to repeat a phrase that Steph had told her on the first day: "Small acts of courage can change the world."